Have a holly jolly Christmas. It's the best time of.
The Advent Calendar is a 2021 French horror film, directed by Patrick Ridemont, and stars Eugénie Darrand as Eva, a former dancer, but in current day she's a paraplegic. Yet a gift given to her by her friend holds supernatural meddlings that can be deemed as life-altering. And by deemed, I mean this Advent Calendar kills people in cool ways. It's not just those cheap chocolates that you get that I actually think are really good. But on top of just killing people in really fun ways, the Advent Calendar gives Eva the ability to walk again. But it's going to cost her morale and everyone around her, as misfortune and death plague everyone in Eva's life, including herself at times. And even with that knowledge, Eva still continues to play the game of the Advent Calendar. And today, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone watching, we will be looking at an underrated Christmas horror movie, The Advent Calendar. Before we fully jump into the watch along, which, heads up, is going to be cut up because of copyright. If you're new here, welcome, and if you're returning, it's good to see you again. This is my only real Christmas video this year, so I'm offering a little bit longer of a video. Alright, that's enough yapping without swallowing. Oh, man. Let's get into this fun gift for Christmas. The Advent Calendar starts off by showing our main protagonist, Eva, and her swimming abilities. Oh, and her butt. Do you think this guy's her boyfriend? Nope. Just a floppy man looking at a woman's butt. And on top of that, he uses one of the best lines you can ever use on a lady. Do you like to swim often? I have sexual intentions with you, but I just want to know if you like to swim often. Anyway, that swimming scene is to let the audience know right away that Eva is paralyzed from the waist down, if you couldn't tell by that scar. It also shows that the floppy man, besides just being a creep, is an ableist. Maybe not ableist because that can be seen as a preference, but that's a foreshadow for what this movie's like. Everyone in this movie is just an asshole to someone in a wheelchair. This may be hard for you guys to think of, but imagine that a group of people hate another group of people for no other reason. I know that doesn't happen much in the world, but just imagine. Imagine not hitting your son. It's racism, but on wheels. That's probably not the best. We're 1 minute into the movie. This is how the video is going to go. If you don't like it. Yet within the 2-minute mark, another staple of this film is shown. Oh yeah, and to sum up that little ramble I had, that whole thing was just to say that people don't like disabled people in this movie. Anyway, the other staple in the movie is the time cutting. This might get confusing later down the stretch, but I'll do my best to keep you with me like a sweet southern lady. Looking at the video that Eva records, right off the bat it sets up the scares, as well as the roles, of this mysterious Advent Calendar. And it sounds simple enough, I don't know why she's so stressed. Follow all the rules that the Advent Calendar bestows on you, and obviously the rules are going to be fair without a catch. Then we cut back to Eva's life, highlighting her struggles with being a paraplegic. But in her life she has a good boy, and a microwave, which is always nifty. Not as nifty. Yeah, so Eva isn't living like Larry, because she has to deal with some sort of hallucination, presumably from the accident that caused her to become paralyzed. But on top of that, she's living alone, she has a shitty job. This movie hammers how bad life is for Eva, making the audience sympathize hard for her. I personally think later on it's gonna get a bit much, but we're already on Eva's side. However, people being mean isn't the worst part about Eva's life. She has a broken relationship with her father, as her father is dealing with Alzheimer's. Late stage it seems like. As all he does is sit in a chair and look out the window. I had an aunt like that, and it scared me to death. I was a child, so I didn't understand, like, human beings, but it scared me. But this movie cannot let you think that you shouldn't be angry, because Eva's father is being taken care of by an evil Disney stepmother put to life, but in a Christmas horror movie. And she's snobby French. The reason I say Agnes over here is evil is because she's using Eva's father for her wealth. Moreover, Agnes isn't letting Eva talk to her father.
Qu'il a une fille. Comment voulez-vous qu'il se souvienne de votre anniversaire? Je vous laisse. J'ai des choses à faire.
Oh, you feeling the Christmas spirit yet? With all this doom and gloom, we need some sort of bright light in this movie that isn't a good boy. Luckily, we got Eva's friend, Sophie. Sophie here is either from Germany or was living in Germany for a while and came over to visit Eva for her birthday.
Ah, c'est ton anniversaire quand même. Gâteau allemand. Champagne.
Good old alcohol to numb the pain. But also the title of the movie. That's what she gives Eva. Not like, you know, drowning your sorrows away in alcohol. Wait, title of the movie.
Say that again?
I like the new Fantastic Four a lot. Like a lot more than the Sophie says that she got this Advent Calendar from a Munich market, but she lied. And that's a sin during Christmas time. But I'm jumping the gun. Eva loves the Advent Calendar, as she says it's a present for every day.
Miracle de Noël.
Tu le jettes, je te tue.
Foreshadow! Foreshadow! See, I paid attention in my film classes in community college. No, the line, dump it or itch will kill you, is verbatim what it says. You may be asking who Itch is. Well, he's just a guy spreading Christmas cheer. Ho, ho, ho! Earlier in the movie, it showed us that today is December 3rd. So Eva's got 3 days worth of chocolates to open up. Now, if you don't know how advent calendars work, you're supposed to open them on each day that the day correlates and you get a little prize. Hence the calendar, because that's how days work. Up, go back. Who the hell are you? I love when horror movies drop an unexplainable scary scene just out of nowhere. Just a little breadcrumb, but if the breadcrumb doesn't lead anywhere, then that's This is fun. By the way, who the hell is him? You'll learn it later, but that's Itch. Or Ick. Or as I like to call him, Papa.
Papa, can you see me?
But Papa the devil man over here gives Eva a little chocolate. As Sophia begins to explain the rules. Rule 1. If you start with one, you have to eat them all, or I'll kill you. And that makes sense. Like, you're not gonna not finish a bag of Coke. Or, like, you know, the drink. No, you'll fix your problem tomorrow. But tonight's for the young. Go overdose. Rule 2.
2. Et respecte toutes les règles jusqu'à l'ouverture de la dernière fenêtre, sinon, je te tue.
You may be thinking to yourself, do all these rules involve death? And to answer your question,
Jette, je te tue.
Ça rigole pas.
C'est allemand, ça rigole pas.
as Eva gets to chewing, we all know that's when the games begin.
Let the game begin.
Papa's back. Now, the first day's chocolate is just completely normal, besides Papa being weird over there in the corner, which that's kind of normal. In day 2, the calendar gives off a more unsettling vibe.
C'est toi qui as mis ça dedans?
Non, pourquoi?
C'était le chocolat préféré de mon père.
Pretty weird how an advent calendar just knows your dad's favorite chocolate after you were denied talking to him. And for me personally, since we already set up the rules of you have to eat all the chocolates, I got kind of nervous when she set off the chocolate to the side and then opened day 3. Hey, can you stop knocking and just come in? Day 3 is just some card that looks like Jesus trying to pet a demon. I'd personally do the same. Put me in a Conjuring movie and I'm gonna pee on the demon's face. Not in a sexual way. You're trying to scare me? Watch this. That card with Jesus petting a demon says,
Pour guérir du mal, il faut détruire l'origine du mal.
so now we know that the Riddler from the Arkham games made this movie. And in this movie, Eva's gonna have to find 300 Riddler trophies just to beat up a skinny dude. And this Riddler fella, or Papa, whoever's the owner of the advent calendar, he made it to where you can't prematurely open a door. I bet you wish you couldn't prematurely sex joke. For now, Eva and Sophie just think that the calendar is just jammed. Oh well, at least she got 3 chocolates out of it. The two carry on birthday festivities, getting drunk and talking like gals. I get drunk and start wandering. What's he doing in Maine? I don't know. But as they're carrying on festivities, the advent calendar has to be that one girlfriend you had in high school that just needed to be the center of attention. Fuck you.
Il me dit...
Es ist Mitternacht. Du musst jetzt öffnen. Es ist Mitternacht. Du musst jetzt öffnen.
If that was me, that calendar's getting thrown out. Like, I'll wait for Sophie to leave, and then I'm throwing it out. You know, just out of kindness, but that demon box is not staying in my home. Here's a question, though. Would you still keep that box?
Es ist...
Even with Nosferatu watching over you, he ate babies. Now I say Nosferatu, but on the back of the little guy's head, it's scratched in saying Ick. I know I'm making jokes about Nosferatu and Papa, but that's Ick. Him popping up is to let Eva know that midnight has struck and she can open the next day.
Alors, Jésus dit au paralytique, lève-toi et marche.
Even Jesus is making fun of disabled people. That genuinely dampens the mood, and Sophie's aware of that, but there's no social Hail Mary you can throw out there to save that interaction. Also illustrating that Eva isn't too keen on talking about what led to her being paralyzed. Even to a good friend like Sophie. Good friend. See, that's my foreshadowing. Did you take film classes in community college? You may be thinking that the dampening of the mood made Eva forget to eat the chocolate. Luckily, she didn't. As a non-chocolate fan, whenever I see someone else eating chocolate, it looks so good than whenever I actually taste it. And I'm not talking about Reese's. I'm talking about like just straight chocolate. Willy Wonka's dad made me really want to eat chocolate, and then I ate chocolate, and I'm like, man, I agree with you, Count Dooku.
Caramels. Lollipops. Chocolate.
I would have let Christopher Lee Pillow talk to me. Moving on. Later down the road, you'll see, or rather you'll hear, how great this soundtrack is. Not just the sound effects, but the soundtrack itself all builds tension so well. And the sound design doesn't always lead to something scary. Like for this scene, Eva's papa is ringing her. That's normal.
Papa?
Yeah, just kidding. As Eva dials again, with her iPhone, you know, the phone that's more accessible than the landline that's way up here for someone in a wheelchair. When she calls her dad, the scene cuts to her dad, still sitting, looking out the window, nowhere near the phone. The next day, we see Eva's horrible work life, as she has such a shitty boss, who looks like a mob boss who's pretending to be the mob boss so he gets killed like early on in the first act of the movie, and then the real mob boss gets revealed and he's like, oh, you think you killed me? Put those dogs away! Not only is her boss a horrible person, but so is her coworker. Not just because she's walking barefoot, which, if you do that voluntarily, you're gross. If you don't have shoes or heels make your feet hurt, that's different. But if you voluntarily walk in a grocery store without shoes on or socks on, just because you think that makes you closer to the mole people underground, I'm gonna judge the f*** out of you. Same with feet, guys. Y'all f***ing weird. I hope bare feet public people get coal this year. The same way that the coworker's gonna get coal. As she literally makes fun of the fact that Eva can't walk.
You're laughing.
I shouldn't laugh at that, but I just can't imagine the audacity to look at someone who's in a wheelchair and be like, and even worse with this coworker, she's condescending. I love condescending and pretentious people. Stay on that high horse. It's a bigger target. But yeah, that's the coworker's whole character. Just a. She also informs Eva that her work schedule is gonna change, because Eva's life is just full of nice surprises. Good life.
Mon bureau. Ah oui, il est près de la fenêtre. Et?
She's just an asshole. Everyone in her life is an asshole. Except Melvin over there. The film cuts again to that night. It was just another critique of mine. The film cuts a lot from different scenes, and sometimes I don't feel like you need to do that. Eva and Sophie are planning on going on a date night. A double date night, so Eva won't be third wheeling. Although Eva still doesn't really want to go on a date. But Sophie says she gets a free meal. That's always worth putting yourself out there to a stranger and being vulnerable to, that you don't know, that could kill you. Also within the conversation before they head out to their date, it is revealed to the audience that Eva does suffer from hallucinations. Like, real ones, not just Papa over there being like... And we saw earlier in the film that Eva took some medications before she went to bed. Again, assumedly for hallucinations. This all puts the question, how many of the scenes we saw earlier where there were trippy scenes were real or just hallucinations that Eva suffers from? And just to make sure I don't lose y'all, the only hallucination that I am 100% sure was a hallucination was the earlier scene when the headlights were just coming straight at her. Anything regarding the accident that caused Eva to go paraplegic, that's a real hallucination. I think anything regarding the demon calendar man, that's probably real. For example, when Eva's father calls her on that landline, that's the demon. That's not a hallucination. If you're with me, cool. If you're not, you're getting left behind, soldier. And we're gonna cover up the fact that one of our own killed you. That's all a pretty big revelation. Another one is Sophie is Swiper the Fox. This is where she admits that she did steal this advent calendar.
T'as dit quoi, le mec qui te l'a vendu?
On n'a pas beaucoup parlé. Je l'ai volé.
Quoi?
Bon, t'es prête? On va manger?
And on top of that, she just completely avoided her sins. And that definitely doesn't say anything about Sophie's character in the long run.
Little snake in the grass he is.
But now we know Eva suffers from hallucinations, she's not too keen on socializing, and that's completely fair because apparently everyone in France is just an asshole to people in wheelchairs. And the origin of the calendar is unknown. It's not just some Munich market gift. Nonetheless, they proceed on to the date. And you may be fooled that this is a club.
It's this. Then don't be sorry.
Like, this is such weird music to be playing at what seems like a high-end restaurant. Like, you never catch me in there because I don't like dressing up. And rich people. I really don't like rich people. But this music's like, let's drop some taps and start raving. The hell are we wearing suits for?
Poser un temps partiel sans motif valable.
Elle est handicapée, hein. Ça suffit comme motif, non?
Oh my god, I'm just another asshole to this poor lady.
Elle m'a dit qu'elle venait avec une pote, alors je suis passé prendre un pote. Comme ça on est 4 potes. Elle va pas se faire un plat à 3 quand même, hein.
Oh my god. What the f? If you're like Boris, you should kill. Very jolly, aren't we? With that all being said, we got one dude who seems to be actually kind to Eva. And by kind, I mean he's listening to her, and he's talking to her as if she's a human. He's actually interested in Eva's work life. Something so mundane to us as well as Eva, yet he's interested. He's not a douchebag. I'm pointing this out because this is like the only character in the movie who's not a douchebag. Which is funny because you're keen on liking our boy Hunter over here, but you also still have the thought in the back of your mind, what if he's just saying this stuff to get with one of them? And if you're thinking that, you're pretty smart, as Hunter does start sleeping with one of them, although it's not Eva. Nope, Sophie being such a good friend says, hey Eva, Boris wants to take you out drinking. You know, the guy who's been harassing you all night and making fun of the fact that you can't walk, you should go with him in his car. Let's go to a second location with a guy who's obviously a Now heads up, if you go watch this movie and for the next couple scenes, warning. It's not a scene, but it doesn't shy away from showing you what happens. As assumedly Boris roofies Eva and begins touching her without her consent. And Eva doesn't realize it right away because...
Je dis rien, parce que je sens rien, connard!
You ever just kill a character yourself in your head because you know the movie killing him is just not going to be good enough? After that first failed he then grabs Eva's head and forces her head into his crotch. When Eva fights back, Boris gets out of the car and throws her out as well as the wheelchair. It is a really tense and grave scene, and again, it does not shy away from showing you what happened. And if that's something that makes you squeamish or you just can't watch, I wouldn't recommend this movie to you. As for the video, we're done talking about. In regards to the movie, it shows a spotlight on what it does well. It plays off the fear that women feel when around men. Specifically strangers, but everyone in Eva's life is just shit. And on top of already feeling like she's being taken advantage of because she's a woman, she's paralyzed, making her even more vulnerable. I think the movie's main fear to exude, and this is an allegory, not trying to be mean, like everyone else in this movie, is that Eva is wounded prey in a world full of predators. Funny enough, the demon from the calendar doesn't seem too bad right now. I've been glazing this movie a lot, and I'm going to continue to do so, but my biggest problem with it, as well as with any media, especially recently, it always feels like if the director wants the audience to hate someone, and our main character or a side character that we love is a lady, the bad guy's going to say about the lady. And then automatically, if you're a good person, you're like, yeah, I want to see that guy die. You don't have to about someone to make the audience hate the bad guy. That might just be me. We'll get back to the movie now. As Eva's on the ground, she yells at Boris as he's taking off. In a movie full of people who are just brutal to Eva, the Demon Calendar Man shows up as a superhero. And every superhero needs a sidekick. Oh, who's a good boy? Oh yeah, we're going voodoo, baby. And on top of that, it's the dog doing voodoo magic. I know we just had a heavy scene and I complained about the movie, but this next part is why I really like this movie so much. It can have fun with the horror. It is such a fun kill and one of the more original kills I've seen in a horror movie. But I do wish that Boris died more painfully, like that we got to see him get, you know. The next day, Eva's being told about Boris's fate, only for that to be interrupted from a text from him. But Sophie, good old friend of Eva's, says that happens all the time, that a text message may just be delivered late. But in said text, Eva is gifted some sort of cryptocurrency that Boris was talking about earlier in the night, which is always a good thing to talk about during a date. Cures your flowers and Yo, do you know about NFTs? That sounds fun. And for now, Eva just thinks that's strange. She's not really connecting the dots, because why would you? But as slumber bestows Eva, it gets interrupted by the advent calendar once again.
Es ist Mitternacht. Du musst jetzt öffnen.
Eva attempts just to go back to bed.
Es ist Mitternacht. Du musst jetzt öffnen.
Hey, wait a minute, that's not what you were saying earlier. I don't speak German, nor does Eva. But no thank you. Do you remember those toys of Woody where you pulled the string and he would say like, there's something in my boot? And by something, there's a gun. Imagine if you pulled the string and Woody just says something like, I don't know, Epstein didn't kill. That would freak you out a little bit, right? And then you'd be like, whoa, Woody, you know a lot. Luckily, Eva went back to follow the rules of the advent calendar. She went and grabbed a little chocolate, a little heart, sequencing us into the next day. December 6th. As Eva is out following someone she fancies, but much like me, doesn't have the balls to say anything to them. The thing is, she doesn't have balls. And she also roofies the drink. Ladies, just go say hi. Now, with everything that the movie set up, I'm sure that the roofing is gonna go well.
C'est cool, non? Vous êtes paraplégique, je suis infirmier. Je pourrais m'occuper de vos escarres et de vos problèmes urinaires.
Hey, yo! Him saying that isn't just random out of the blue. I mean, it is, but earlier in the movie, when Eva was complaining about going on a date, one of her complaints was like, hey, I need to find someone who's a nurse and can help me wipe my private parts because, you know, I'm paralyzed. Being a bit pessimistic, probably justified in this world, about her ability to date someone. And she says that in a mocking way. Meanwhile, William over here just comes over to her and says that with full earnesty. And to all the ladies out there, is that a good pickup line? Should I try that? I'm not even a nurse, so that probably not. Eva's piecing together that the advent calendar is clearly lucky. You know, if you couldn't tell by the dog killing the but that chocolate actually worked that she gave William, as Eva and William spend the whole day talking, to the point where the little coffee shop closes, and that day climaxes with them exchanging numbers. So far, the advent calendar is looking pretty damn good. It kills and it gives you love.
Tu prends 4 jours de congé sans prévenir et puis tu ramènes...
Well, probably shouldn't have eaten the chocolate that looks like a clock, because Eva loses a couple of days like they were nothing. Which, funny enough, that kind of happens to me. Not days, but like there'll be like 3 hours to like 5 hours that go by, and I'm just sitting down and then I look up, I'm like, wait a minute, how did we get here? But it's not as bad as Eva, because she missed a couple of days of work. And in her missing her work, she gets fired. Which is funny because her boss doesn't do anything. And I say it's funny because I can also relate to Eva because my old boss didn't do shit. Fuck you. He got hit with a cease and desist on the last day I was working there because he was harassing a senior citizen. Again, fuck you. Yeah, Eva's getting yelled at by her boss. And the time jump from the little chocolate turns the day into December 10th. Yet within that time that seemed like it fast forwarded, she somehow ate the chocolates from day 6 to day 10. So technically she still kind of followed the rules. I'll get into the kind of part later once the movie's over, but for now, she's still technically following all the rules. While Eva has William, she doesn't have her job anymore. Womp womp. Even debating if she should continue the game of the advent calendar. Also, I mentioned the cryptocurrency earlier, and that's going to be a reoccurring thing throughout the movie. It's pretty much the way Eva gauges on if the advent calendar has supernatural meddlings or not. So right now, as she's debating on if she should continue the advent calendar, she tries to invest in the cryptocurrency that she's been giving hints at. And what does it get her? Yeah, so this convinces Eva not to continue. But it doesn't stop the advent calendar. Not the good boy, not the good boy! I swear to God, if this dog dies, I'm gonna write a very strongly worded letter. What's that powder in it? Don't ask. This is where we learn the good old boy's name.
Fine.
I'm gonna assume that that's not chocolate. It's just a dog treat. Papa Calendar Demon Man wouldn't kill a dog. Marvin's okay. Whoever he ate probably isn't. You see why I'm calling him a good boy? He killed a fake mob boss by eating them. Unlike real life, Eva's little cryptocurrency is giving her a return. So far, this advent calendar is really looking good for Eva. Not for everyone else in her life, but everyone else in her life doesn't deserve good. As the case, Eva begins to take the advent calendar a bit more serious. She literally becomes Charlie from It's Always Sunny, putting together all the pieces like what Marvin did, as well as how some of the chocolate and the riddles correlate with the actions. Leading us to December 12th. Maybe let's get a chaser. With day 12's chocolate, Eva's much more intent on eating it. You good, ma'am? Hey, back to another scene cut. Eva's in the hospital after that little weird seizure. Yet we don't know how Eva got to the hospital after she somehow managed to get herself into the street without her wheelchair. All while tightly clenching the advent calendar. And another heads up, this isn't so much of a trigger warning, but if you have sensitivity to lights or like epileptic, do not watch this movie. I'm going to dampen this part down a lot because I don't have any issues when it comes to lights flashing, but this made my head hurt. If you do watch this movie, skip this part or just probably skip this movie because this scene of flashing lights lasts for a good minute. Within the seizure-inducing scene, it's shown that Eva did actually walk all the way to the street. So on top of all the other good things the advent calendar has done for Eva, she can now walk again. This all sets up Eva being dependent on the advent calendar. And I think it's a pretty good parallel for drug addiction. It may seem like it's brightening your life for a little bit, but even from the beginning, it's taking away something from you. Putting up to question what happens when your supply runs out. For Eva, what happens on December 25th? Hey, can you not do that? Like, you can pray all you want, but like, over there? Should've mind my business. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name.
Assiste-moi de la mort.
Kingdom come, thy will.
Délivre-moi du mal.
Just leave. Oh, okay. We're next scene, I guess. Not even a goodbye after that? Like, what are we now? Hey, at least our cryptocurrency scam's going well. Or investment. Definitely investment. Buy a Bitcoin. Y'all remember when the Super Bowl commercial just ran ads for scams? Buy our crypto on the biggest television stage for Americans. And then they rug pulled it. Within the next day, Eva goes to visit her dad. And unfortunately, we gotta deal with Agnes. Such a good name for an evil stepmother. And if your name's Agnes, don't be an evil stepmother. And then you're cool. But if you're a mean stepmother, shoo. I only knew one kind of mean stepmother, but she was like off her rocker. The first day I met her, she just started talking about how abortion was bad, and I was 12. She looked at me and she's like, "Oh, you're adopted, so you should feel good that you weren't aborted." I wouldn't have cared because I would have been dead. First time I met this lady. That was a weird time in life. Where's the script at? I said earlier that Agnes is just using Eva's dad for his wealth, and this is where it's really shown. As Agnes plans on putting Eva's dad in a home, which that's kind of fair because he's, you know, for days on end. And Agnes is just over there smoking a spliff. But she plans on selling the home, which is a pretty nice looking home, especially nowadays, because
You will not be able to stay home, brother.
fuck. Oh, and she's also an ableist, because why the f not? Hair too tight, hate your family, OxyClean.
Hi, Billy Mays here.
Eva kept that chocolate from the night before, and that chocolate's going to lead us to a very touching and heartfelt scene, and an otherwise pretty brutal, at times fun horror movie. Again, I could do without all this, but it hits a lot of notes good movies are supposed to. Scary, fun, heartfelt, and tense.
Eva.
Tu me manques tellement.
Toi aussi.
In the scene, it's also confirmed that Agnes is the stepmother, and Eva's mother had passed long ago.
D'autres personnes vont devoir mourir. Tu les as connues.
Yep, this is a horror movie. Wipe them tears away. This little exposition dump is to tell us, if Eva cares to get the full extent of the benefits from the advent calendar, she will have to kill someone herself, like her father, the one person that she has shown she cares about through and through. And even then, her father says, don't hesitate to do so.
N'hésite pas.
Now this part can be a bit muddy, because it's either the advent calendar taking full control of him, or the advent calendar is just telling him all the answers and he's in full control, just for a little bit. I think it's a bit of 50-50, as I do think that Eva's father is fully okay with giving up his life just so his daughter can walk again. There can still be motive from the advent calendar man to just get Eva to move along with the process, and the latter motive will make more sense later. I really like how it's playing out. The advent calendar isn't showing its true colors, but you can definitely tell that there's malicious meaning behind it. But in front of it is so much good that it offers. It's a lot like Christianity's devil. He's not some demon angry dude who's gonna like burn you to death. He's gonna allure you with everything you possibly want. There's just gonna be a catch. In regards to religion, that would be turning away from God. The movie proceeds to December 15th. This chocolate's the same chocolate that allowed her to walk. Although this time Eva visits William at work. Which, by the way, I don't know if he's actually a nurse or if it's just the advent calendar being... And as Eva commences on eating the chocolate, she fucking dies. And that's the movie. If you liked the video, then leave a like, and if you enjoyed my rambling, then subscribe. Alright, bye-bye.
Je te sens. Je te sens.
Oh, hell yeah, man. Most of what comes from the advent calendar is some sort of sin. You got obvious ones like murder, but now you got things like lust. I also think that was implied with the lady at the hospital, because it was a death clock and, you know, she didn't look too great.
Délivre-moi du mal.
Just reflections I think the movie's trying to make. But I could be talking a bunch of mojo jojo. As Eva goes for a swim, William realizes that she forgot her keys in his car. So like any good person, he goes back to try to return the keys. As William goes to return the keys, Eva's door keeps opening as if it's an invitation for William. And before he goes in, if you don't understand how roofing works, if you're the victim of a roofie, you don't know that you've been roofied. William doesn't know that he's been love bugged by Eva. So this isn't great.
Allô?
Ich töte William.
Yeah, this ain't good. Also, there's roughly 30 minutes left of the movie. And if you don't know how acts work in a movie, usually it builds up a little bit more. And in horror specifically, a nice way to put it is starts hitting the fan. With that all being said, I'm sure that William's gonna be okay. Definitely okay. Oh, he's got a little mask now. That's kind of cute. Ah, maybe get the f out of there. Not with that goddamn thing. Oh, he was a good boy. All those scene cuts that we've been dealing with in the movie, it begins to ramp it up a bit more. As it goes from Eva swimming to William going to attempt to drown a box. And the sound design, yet again, is something I want to highlight. With Eva, it's nice, calm, and beautiful. And then you go over to our boy William, and it's not. Matching perfectly with each of their emotions. Eva's finally living like Larry. Meanwhile, William is frantically trying to get rid of this demon box. And both of them are justified. Obviously with William, no one likes being roofied. Because what the hell? Nor do they like demon boxes giving them jump scares. And with Eva, no one likes being bullied by a whole town because you're in a wheelchair. You're already dealing with enough. I like both their characters. I understand why Eva's doing all this, and I like William. He's actually a good man. Oh, don't like that. The scene cuts ramping up. Well, buckle up, ladies and gentlemen. This is your captain speaking. We're about to see God. Whenever a horror movie finally unleashes its villain, it can either be a hit or a very big miss. I personally like the design of Papa. Or Ick. Sorry. The calendar man that we've been seeing glimpses of. But I like it. It's not bad. They definitely could have done a lot better, but I don't think he's the main focus of the movie. I think this movie is much more story driven, and then they just added horror, which is perfect. That's how good horror movies should be. Story first, add horror. Anywho, let's check back in with William. Hey. Get up. Ick's getting a little payback for what William did to him. And on the flip side, so is Eva, showing that the voodoo magic is literally linked with everyone that Eva comes across. But the real question, where's Marvin? William's dead, R.I.P., but Marvin. Eva in a weird trippy scene, showing that the supernatural meddlings of the advent calendar makes everything connected to her, knows that William drowned, as she is right there with them. And as she gasps for air, because, humans don't breathe underwater, she resurfaces where William was in that little river. My complaints about the scenes feeling weird with their placements, I feel like are valid, and I'd love to hear your opinion, but in this part, I think it's beautiful. Because Eva was the catalyst for William and her's relationship. A relationship that wasn't true. You have to remember that the advent calendar made William like her. Before William was drugged, it did show him just walking around normal life, with Eva too scared to talk to him. And within normal life, William just ignored her. But after Eva gives him the chocolate, he's head over heels for her. Eva's the reason William dies, and as such, she's there for his death. She was warned about this, and she's finally reaping all the consequences that come with the benefits. As the scene ends, we move to December 16th. But before she's fully out of the river, we see that the calendar man, Ick, meets with her once she's on land, building the weird relationship between Eva and Ick. I still believe that Ick has ulterior motives with giving Eva all these quote-unquote blessings. But returning her home actually adds to the idea that the game is in her favor. On December 17th, we see that Eva's a bit more disheveled, which is fair. Ooh, shroom chocolate. Nice! This trippy scene is much more tense than the last one. Granted, the last one showed the dude dying, but it was beautiful. This trippy tense scene has the phone ringing. That usually indicates that otherworldly activity is about to begin. And Eva, frantically panicking, she runs to the bathroom. She's still a bit dazed from the prior events. So as she goes to the bathroom, she sees William through her bathroom mirror. On Eva's point of view, she's looking at a bathroom mirror and sees William. From William's point of view, it's from the other day, right before he got killed, when he was looking at the calendar and weird scribblings were going on. I say weird scribblings, it's probably French message, I just can't read it, because, America. But whatever Eva writes out leads William to grab the calendar and intends to destroy it. Obviously not to success. But this scene calls back to the beginning of the movie, showing that the movie is going to play with time, and that's foreshadowing for the end. And to keep you guys up to date with how I'm thinking and where my theory is going to be at the end of the video, ever since Eva started the advent calendar on December 3rd, time has been up in the air. I think that explains why all the scenes are cutting, as well as why some of the days would be like December 10th, and then it will be 5 minutes, and then the next day is December 11th. The calendar itself is messing with time. But the movie itself doesn't explain it or show that to you too much up until the end, because it doesn't want you to get confused, and I don't want you to get confused either. It's like Interstellar, but scary. In regards to where we're at the movie, the time jumping doesn't really matter for now, because we can chalk Eva's vision of seeing William through the bathroom mirror up to the chocolate just being drugged. The next day comes, and on December 18th, we see that Eva's much more hesitant after losing William. Oh, great, it popped out a knife. Hey, where's Marvin at? Hey, good boy, you should run. In this scene, it also shows that the advent calendar is much more forceful with its demands. As when she drops the knife, the calendar man is very upset about that. So in the end, Eva must do what Ick says. The next day comes, and so does Sophie. Sophie walks into this very nice and warm, inviting scene. The good boy will be good at killing rapists in heaven now. I know dog death is a horror cliche, like, oh no, not the dog dying, no, I don't like that guy. And it's a cliche for a reason, but I like it here. Mainly due to the fact that Eva was told about all of this. She was warned that there'd be consequences. Why would you think that your dog, one of your only companions that you actually love, who doesn't hate people in wheelchairs because dogs don't do that, you didn't sum up maybe the calendar that's making me kill other people might make me kill my dog? As Sophie sees this traumatic scene, she plans to stay the night with Eva, because you probably don't want her to be left alone. And that's a good friend move. What are you doing here? Surely them staying the night is not going to be a bad idea. Let's ask William. The next day, December 19th comes, and for some reason Sophie wants the chocolate, and it's a wee-wee.
Nice car.
Eva snatches that up. She's not gonna get any of the chocolate. At least she thinks. She literally chews that chocolate, the chocolate, for a whole day, and then finally throws it out. Yet it definitely did something. Either set off another hallucination, or the advent calendar man just being messy. I think it's a hallucination, but I think it's funnier if Ick was just like, you know what, girl? Take that. But I do believe that this is a real hallucination. Definitely sparked by the chocolate and the calendar man. But it does show us Eva's origin before becoming paralyzed. The whole movie it has been hinted that Eva had dreams of becoming a dancer, in the form of ballet. And here we see her in her ballet skirt, in a car, with headlights approaching. Eva confirms her dreams were crushed when she became paralyzed by that accident. December 19th is pretty much just to show us Eva's origin. As the 20th comes the next scene. After weeks of dealing with this calendar, Eva is very not well put together. And as Sophie tries to get through to Eva, Eva finally explains to someone else all of the rules that the game makes you follow. And we also see that Eva's fully okay with the fact that more people are gonna die as long as she gets to walk again. Even Sophie, being a good friend, encourages Eva to do so. And we see Sophie being such a good friend staying another night with the boy toy. Oh, and what's that?
Crise de paranoia.
And Sophie being the best bestie ever, she holds on to Eva's chocolate for safekeeping, because Eva doesn't want to be around people when she eats it. But she does need sleep.
Tu me le rendras demain. Vous allez me ramener chez moi.
She gives that chocolate to her boyfriend for sex. Nice. Damn, y'all like it rough. Oh, shit. The movie makes it so easy to hate the people who die. But with Sophie in particular, I feel like she knew how Boris's character was. She was the one who was so eager on trying to get Eva to go out. And the one dude on the double date who was nice to her, Sophie was banging. So was Sophie just like, alright, here's Boris. Have fun, which she pretty much did. She was like, hey, go have drinks with him. Nothing bad's gonna happen. Bye. And now we just got some naked angry dude standing in the... Oh. Thanks, dude. Okay. 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 This is when we get a better look at Ick. An elongated man with cuts all over, a metal mask, and a deformed mouth to match an eerily skinny body as he forces a chocolate into Eva's mouth, not too impressed with Sophie's meddlings. The chocolate transcends the scene into the next day, the 21st. The prior day, Eva found a painting hidden within the advent calendar, and today she goes to visit the artist behind it, as maybe he can offer her some answers. But first of all, she's walking. You know the lady who was in the wheelchair the whole time and getting made fun of it? Well, she walks to my favorite scene. Eva finds this painter, but the painter is blind and says, no, I couldn't have made that painting. What are you talking about? I'm blind. Don't you see? And the reason I'm glazing this scene so much is this wraps up the movie's questions very well. The blind artist begins to feel his painting, and then we get glimpses of the past. The painter had this advent calendar that Eva now possesses, and he made this painting as a warning. The painting is a family, with the father standing over his murdered son and wife, that father being the painter. The glimpses we get are the painter killing his family, but in those glimpses, we see that he can see. They're not deformed like in reality. As Eva realizes that the painter killed his own family because of the advent calendar, the painter immediately tries to kick her out. Before she leaves, the painter's family walks in, a son and a wife. The same ones he murdered in the past, and the same ones in that painting. You may be asking, how is his wife and son alive when we just saw him murdered, and why is he blind?
Ils étaient morts quand vous les avez peints. Votre tableau est un message pour le suivant. Vous avez tué les sacrifices.
Well, as we've seen with the advent calendar, it's given Eva the ability to walk again. The advent calendar gave this man the ability to see again, which is why he painted all of these paintings, which is why he had the ability to paint the painting of his family, and then stuff it into the advent calendar. But much like Eva, the cost of the benefits was killing people. For the painter, it was his family. But how are they alive? Well, the advent calendar's rules are, if you eat the final day's chocolate, then everything reverts back to normal. None of your actions happen, but you remember it. You will always be stuck with the memory of whatever the advent calendar made you do. For the painter, he will always remember killing his family, which is why he gets so upset with Eva when she realizes that he did that. As you can see, the advent calendar itself, it messes with time. The whole purpose of it is to give whoever's the victim a little taste of whatever they missed so much in life. For the painter, it was his sight. For Eva, it's her ability to walk. But on the final day, all that gets taken away, except your memories, which is even worse if you think about it, because the painter killed his family. That's a horrible experience to remember. Eva's gonna have to remember killing her dog, and the fake conversation she had with her father, the fake relationship she had with William, and all of the other bad things that have come. But it doesn't affect anyone else. I hope my explanation kind of makes sense, because it doesn't really explain that in the movie until the end, but I don't want you to get lost in the sauce. But now we have a better understanding of what the advent calendar's rules truly mean, and how they affect our protagonist. As December 22nd rolls around, Eva gets a naked doll and a glimpse of her asshole coworker. What's up, playa? She also gets a glimpse at Ix's increased intent on his mission. And to play more on that voodoo horror, Eva begins to start f***ing up that doll, and it reflects on that coworker. Eva takes out all the hair. She rips out a nail. And finally, she breaks her arm in multiple spots. It is such an excruciating death. One that I think maybe the should have deserved, but I'm not complaining about the dog eating him. I miss Marvin. The bone shooting out, this disgusting, brutal death is intercut with Eva just cheesing ear to ear. She's genuinely enjoying all the benefits, even with the consequences that come from it. Benefits like the cryptocurrency shooting up through the roof. Oh yeah, and the coworker's dead. She didn't make that. On the morning of the 23rd, Eva's patiently waiting right in front of the advent calendar, and she gets her chocolate and a gun. Well, time to visit Pop Pop, and Eva goes full on murderer. She stalks up into the house with a hoodie on. Hiding in the distance in a bush, Eva is watching from the distance as Agnes picks up the package that Eva left. It's a dick in a box. Don't put it in a pumpkin. No, it's not a dick in a box. It's actually the advent calendar. And Agnes, being such a caring and loving stepmother, she reads the card and sees that it's from Eva and then burns the package. You remember what happened when William tried to destroy the package? After Agnes is dealt with, Eva goes to talk to her dad one more time, as December 23rd's chocolate was just for him. And oh boy, another heartfelt scene. They each stand, hug each other for one last time, illustrating not only how hard this goodbye is, as she's pretty much had to say goodbye twice to her father, but also the person that Eva's become. Right now she's at the understanding that when she kills her dad, she'll only have one day of walking allowed. Nonetheless, Eva was willing to kill her father. Leading us into the next day, where Eva goes and gets Floppy Man. He actually had kind of a turnover throughout the movie, but I already named him the Floppy Man, and I don't want to give a Floppy Man a character arc. It's pretty much just him being like, oh, maybe people in wheelchairs aren't that bad. Good job, dude. But when Eva gets with Floppy Man, it is literally nothing serious at all. Like if a one-night stand meant nothing to a one-night stand, that's what this is. Eva simply wanted to enjoy her body while she could, knowing that he would easily fulfill him because, his standards are kind of low. In the beginning of the movie, Floppy Man didn't know Eva was paralyzed, and he was attracted. Once she got in that wheelchair, nah. But now she can walk again. Woo! So Eva knew that this was an easy for her. And as Eva gets ready for the 24th day, she goes onto the rooftop with her advent calendar, in the same outfit she was wearing when she had the accident. And this is when she starts recording the video that we saw at the beginning of the movie. And Eva dances in her ballet outfit, finally fulfilling her need to become a dancer. The last night calls and rings forth. And as Eva goes to answer, Floppy Man barges in and drops a loophole that he found within the game. I said earlier that the 24th chocolate will make everything not happen, but Eva's gonna remember it. However, in the game itself, it says that all the actions will stop after the 24th day is unlocked. You don't have to eat the chocolate. What that offers is, if she doesn't eat the chocolate, everything that happened actually happens. None of that's gonna get reset. But in exchange of all of that, she'll be able to walk again. If she does eat the chocolate, she'll be paralyzed again, but all the actions in the movie didn't happen. Am I over explaining it yet? Cool, because the movie doesn't explain it. And this leads to the end of the movie, as Eva is stuck and forced with this option. Does she eat the chocolate and get everyone she had in her life back? Mind you, most people in her life were except for like a few outliers, including our boy Marvin. But if she doesn't eat that chocolate, then she's a murderer. She actually killed those people, including her father. And the film ends with her yelling at the chocolate. Not so much the chocolate, but the choice. The film then cuts to a year later. A man and his baby frantically knocking on Eva's home. There's no answer, but the door does open. All while the man is playing Eva's final recording, ending the movie. I hope my explanation was good for this movie, because one of the criticisms that a lot of people had online, as well as myself, is that some of the questions didn't have answers. So if you do go watch this movie, some of the side plots and side questions, they don't get resolved.
Je suis l'origine de ton mal. L'origine du mal.
With that being said, the main plot of the story is pretty much, would you kill people just so you can walk or see again? Or whatever you so valiantly want. Would you kill someone for that? Someone like your own father, or your son, or your wife? I think with Eva, she definitely did not eat that chocolate. I think she definitely stayed the way she was. I think the actions of the movie that we just watched all stayed true. Which does make Eva a murderer. Because William was just a random guy, right? Like Boris, whatever. Her coworker and her mob boss, yeah, they're shitty people, but you know, but shitty people don't deserve death. Yeah, Agnes.
Elle aussi, tu as dû la sacrifier.
Non. Elle, c'était pour le plaisir.
You get my point. I think Eva's okay with being a murderer, as long as she gets to walk again. Now, time for my final thoughts on this movie. I obviously really liked it, but I feel like you already understood my glaze. I like movies that give off a lot of questions and still wrap it up at the end with a nice bow. And speaking of nice bow, you know how hard it is to find a good Christmas horror movie? Kinda hard. I always go to Krampus because it's a really good Christmas horror movie. It has the fun charm of Christmas spirit, but it doesn't get too scary. And I feel the same with the Advent Calendar. It's not too scary, and it's much more of a story-driven plot. And Christmas, yeah, it's kinda on the afterburner, and I think that's okay. Because the whole time, even with the scene cuts, which do become a bit much, and will definitely confuse some people, this is not a turn-your-brain-off type movie. Regardless, I think it's engaging and flows well. But I think the movie can fall short on not following the rules that the movie sets up for itself. But it definitely answers the high-priority questions throughout the film, while it's still leaving you with a giant question, and I really like that. And on the more cynical note, you didn't have to have the scene, nor did you have to have every single side character be comedically evil. Like, there's people out there. You don't have to over-exaggerate that. And you don't have to set up our main protagonist getting just for us, the audience, to want someone to die. And the confusing fact from the movie, I think also gets enhanced by when the dates get shown. I'm almost certain I messed up some of the dates in this video. I mentioned it earlier, but like 5 minutes of scene will happen, and then the next day will happen. And then it will be like 15 minutes of scenes, and then the next day will happen. Oh yeah, and I completely forgot, the movie itself skipped over 4 days. And there's just a lot of moving pieces, and I feel like it's too many for the movie to be fully coherent. With all that being said, I usually like looking at movies and thinking, would I pay the movie theater price to go watch it? Where I live, it's like $18 for a ticket nowadays. It's insane. And then these big companies are like, why are people pirating our stuff? Hey Sony, you make shit product, you charge an abundance amount of money for it in a time where the economy isn't that good for people that are not millionaires. And then now you're trying to be like, hey, I'm gonna cancel your internet for your home if we see you pirating anything. Which, mind you, Sony will have full control on what they deem is pirating. Oh, did you not pay us the money we wanted? No internet for you. Hey, Supreme Court, can you actually do something good for once and say no to that? Where was I? I'd pay $18 to watch this movie. And it's definitely an underrated Christmas horror movie, as well as just an underrated horror movie in general. I also really hope I gave y'all a movie worth watching. It's a Shudder original, but it's also on YouTube for free at the moment. Alright guys, I usually keep my Google Docs scripts to around 4 to 5 pages. This one's at 12. But if you enjoyed either my ranting, my edits, or how I cut up the movie, then leaving a like really helps out. And if you like my rambling so much, then think about subscribing before you head out. And yeah, I hope y'all enjoy your holidays. Don't kill your dog. Alright, bye.